Hey, I wanted to ask you about Nolan Smith and what you saw from him Sunday. Seemed like kind of a big step forward for him.
Yeah, he played well. And then late in the game, had a really nice play when they ran a special play to our left. He sensed it, applied what we've taught him, by the formation, and had a great reaction and a great play, and his speed allowed him to make it.
Was Huff lining up more in a four-point stance than previously?
Possibly on some of the third downs.
And do you think that is a better way for him to take off?
Well, he thinks that, but, you can do that on third down and, obvious pass. Doesn't help you in the run, first, second down.
Right. Was there concerted effort, though, just to kind of give him more kind of ability to do something that he feels comfortable doing, or?
Yeah, he's had that. He's had the ability to do that in obvious pass.
Just getting back to Nolan, did you see this coming? Did you feel like he was ready to take a jump forward?
He's been, I think, one of those guys that's been improving each and every week a little bit, and some of it's just from playing more, some of it's learning more experience. It's a process. The play he made that we just talked about was a play we were getting ready. I can't remember who it was in an earlier game, but a play that another team had shown, and we practiced against it a couple of weeks ago, and he kind of remembered that and applied it. That's learning football, and those are things you can't put a price on.
How would you describe?
How did you know Cooper was ready?
Who?
How did you know Cooper was ready to take that bigger role?
I didn't. Just to go back, after we played Atlanta, and then that was a Monday night game. Practice on that Wednesday was a walkthrough. Had a practice Thursday, and then your normal Friday practice. Then the following week, we had another Wednesday practice that was a walkthrough. Then a Thursday, and then your normal Friday. And then we had the bye week, and we didn't do anything. So, the only way you got to practice, and the only way to really get him ready in practice was to, put him in there and get him the reps. Because if he's the backup, you can't get many reps when reps are at a premium anyway. So it was just, in my opinion, just time to put him in there and let him get all the preparation and see what he can do.
Vic, Nick said after the game that he made a defensive play call. First of all, what was that call, and are you okay with that?
It wasn't a defensive call. It was just a situation thing to where he just said, hey, be alert for this. He didn't call it defense.
So what was the situation then that he?
It was just when they had the ball near midfield and, it was third and long. He said, hey, be alert that they may check it down or something. They're trying to get him field goal range. More so.
How does his level of involvement
in the defensive?
Only one guy can talk at once. I'm sorry.
How does his level of involvement in what you're doing on game day compare to other head coaches you've worked for?
It's pretty similar.
He said that he made the wrong suggestion, I guess, on that play. What happened on that third and long?
They ended up getting more than I would have liked to have seen them get, but it was inconsequential what he said.
Okay.
On Nakobe, seems to be struggling in space a little bit. Do you think that's fair, or?
Yeah, and I think some of those, particularly with Deshaun Watson in space, he's got a long list of guys that have missed him in space. So it was tough duty. I do think he can do better, not bite on the pump fake, et cetera. But those are hard tackles, and it's definitely an area that he needs to improve on.
Is there a coaching point on the interception opportunity when Quinyon and CJ come together? Like, should one of them have that, or is that just go for the ball?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can assimilate it to, it doesn't happen a lot, is just that gray area fly ball in between the second baseman, the center field, and right. Somebody's got to call it. That might be a little unrealistic, but I do think there is some validity to that. And if the center fielder has it, I got to, and go get it. But I'm not sure if every situation is a little different in the timing of it.
Using DeJean as a blitzer, is that a function of his skill set, or is that the scheme there?
Yeah, no, that would have been the same even if Avante was in there.
You ultimately held them to a field goal on the last drive, but how did you feel in general about the way you guys had a very good defensive day from that point? How did you feel in in general, but the last drive where they got the field goal?
The last drive, yeah, obviously wish we would have stopped them much earlier. Not happy we gave up the field goal there, but it was critical to hold them to the field goal once they did get down there. And, you know, kudos to our fans for helping us there with the noise, and we were stemming, and, you know, those two things kind of induced a couple false starts, which helped us.
Isaiah had to come in for Slay. How do you think he held up in the?
Fine, he had the one bad play, the 35-yarder, he didn't play correctly. But other than that, I thought he did good.
When you have a bunch of young pieces in the secondary, does it change anything about how you call it?
Yeah.
How does it
The makeup of your squad always affects how you call it. That's not the only place where we have young players either, you know, so our two inside linebackers are young. You know, Bond's a veteran, but he's never played inside linebacker till he got here. Kobe's a third-year player, but this is the first year he's playing. You know, so Nolan Smith, we talked about, really the first year he's playing, et cetera, et cetera. So they're all, you know, yeah, the makeup of your team, you can't ignore it. You got to try and find the right fit, and, you know, that fits everybody.
How long does that process typically take, you know, trying to make sure that you're not overloading them or kind of overcomplicating it? Is that something that's always ongoing, or does there become a point where you can trust them to kind of handle the breadth of the defense?
It's ongoing until you get to that point. And I don't think, there's no magic formula. It's all individuals. You know, analytics can't help you on that one. These are all human beings that learn at different paces and experience things at different paces. And practice is important.
Rick, you've been around this area a long time. How would you describe this place, and been to many other different cities, how would you describe this place compared to other places you've been in terms of its fan base and the way it goes about things?
You know, they're obviously very, very passionate here. And they want and expect to win, and no different than any place else. So I don't think it's as drastically different as some people think it is. It's just that when it does, things happen. It just, you know, it's reported, you know, that there goes Philly or whatever. But I don't think it's grossly different, to be honest with you.
In Jordan Davis's case, what factored into the drop in his playing time?
Well, we're playing, you know, they were three wide receivers most of the day. And so we're only playing two of those linemen at a time, probably, and we're just rolling them.
Speaking of young players, Moro Jomo seems to be showing a little bit of juice. What have you seen from him?
Yeah, he's a guy that's made a good improvement from the start, works extremely hard on the practice field and in the meetings, and it's been paying off. He's got some good athletic ability he's on the small side as D linemen go, but he does come with the quickness and speed that you would hope a smaller guy would have. And he plays really hard, and he's done a nice job, and he's earned his playing time.
Does Cooper DeJean's timeline to the field from injury kind of compare to how long it might take for Sidney Brown to get there? Or does his experience last year in the system help him maybe to get plugged in sooner?
I don't know. You know, it's all individualized. I do think Sidney's 1 year of NFL experience, where he did play a lot last year, can speed it up. But we got to be careful and let him get enough prep time so we don't put him out there too early.
On the lack of turnovers, you've been around a long time. Does that something that you view more as just kind of like a variable that's dependent upon the way the ball's bouncing, or do you think it's something that is a result of the way you guys are playing defense right now?
Both. It's a result of a lot of things. You know, some teams and players have a knack for it. I think it goes back to the youth a little bit. We just have to find a way to get the ball out some more. No doubt about it.
What are the challenges of Daniel Jones and the way the Giants use him and his mobility?
Yeah, they really ran him a pretty good bit in this past game. You know, with quarterback design runs, he he pulls it and keeps it on the zone read stuff more than most quarterbacks. Very athletic, very fast. He's a tough assignment, you know, with his movement and his arm strength. They're throwing the RPOs more than they have in the past, and he's throwing them. So I think their offense is definitely a lot better than it was last year, and it's going to be a tough assignment up there.
How's the offense different with Neighbors and without him? With Malik Neighbors and without him?
Well, you put a great receiver in there versus not being in there, you know, it has a big effect. He's a guy you got to be aware of. He's a tough matchup. So, yeah, it has a great effect.
Thanks.
All right.